So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Pierre Taillardat. I'm an assistant professor at NTU at the Asian School of Environment. For the next 10 minutes or so, we're going to brief you on the topic of the day, which is biodiversity, nature-based solutions, and carbon market. So good luck to us, because I don't think 10 minutes is enough to talk about this. So what I'm going to do first is focus on the connection between nature-based solutions and the global carbon budget, and next, carbon markets, and later on, Mimi is going to connect nature-based solutions with biodiversity. So last week on Wednesday, there has been a big report published by the Global Carbon Project. It's a consortium of scientists from all over the world, and every year they publish a report assessing how much carbon has been released to the atmosphere because of human activities. This report didn't get so much media coverage. I don't know if you've heard about it. Anyone in the audience heard about this report? No? All right. So every year they publish a report, and actually the news wasn't really groundbreaking. The latest update was to say that in 2024, human activities have released in the atmosphere more carbon dioxide than any other year, and it increased by 0.8% as compared to 2023, which 2023 increased in comparison to 2022. So we're still not seeing a peak of carbon dioxide emissions because of human activities, despite the Paris Agreement, despite the fact that we want to transition away from fossil fuels, and things like this. And in brief, the carbon dioxide released to the atmosphere is 81% because of fossil fuel combustion to produce energy, and the rest is from land use change. Land use change being mainly deforestation from tropical countries such as Brazil, Indonesia, and the Republic of Congo. Sorry, I forgot the exact term. But this already gives us an idea of the potential of nature to mitigate some of our emissions. Releasing carbon to the atmosphere is only the beginning of the story, the beginning of the carbon cycle. There is a fair part that remains in the atmosphere. I'm showing the pointer over here. But there is about 50% that's being reabsorbed by nature, mainly the ocean for 25%, and ecosystems from the other 25%. So nature is already helping us mitigating climate change and buffering some of the impact of climate change. However, this is not enough. Carbon concentration in the atmosphere continues to increase, and that's becoming a problem. As we know, we're already observing it. And if we base ourselves from the latest IPCC reports, we know that just removing or decreasing our emissions won't be enough. We already need to think of being net negative, meaning that we need to reduce our emissions, but we also need to start thinking of removing carbon from the atmosphere. That's what we call carbon dioxide removal. Right now, most of the discussion, speculation, investments on carbon dioxide removals are from geoengineering technologies, mainly being supported by oil and gas companies. But there's a fair part that can be removed from ecosystems, and that's what we're going to talk about. To do this, I think we can think of different strategies, some of them being using carbon credits. So there is carbon credit opportunities for avoiding emissions, preventing releasing more carbon to the atmosphere, but also removing carbon to the atmosphere, as explained. So the last slide is some key figures from the 2024 State of the Voluntary Carbon Market, just to show how important nature-based carbon credits can be, and also to begin the discussion with the great panelists we're going to have this afternoon. So the first number is 98%. 98% of the carbon dioxide removal credits are generated by nature-based projects, not geoengineering. The second one is that those credits are increasing over time. There is more and more projects coming up and more carbon credits from nature-based projects. However, one challenge is that the majority of those credits are of low quality. There's only less than 10% of all the carbon credits that reach the high quality bar, and the high quality bar is what most of the companies are looking for and buying. So this is really to set the stage related to the global carbon cycle, carbon markets, and nature-based solutions. Mimi is going to complement this briefing by incorporating biodiversity.
Thanks, Pierre. Hi, everyone. Good to see you again. So this is a simplified illustration of how nature-based solutions are related to carbon markets. So as Pierre mentioned, nature-based solutions, there are land sink and ocean sink. And they're part of this mechanism that we call carbon dioxide removal, CDR, alongside with what Pierre mentioned, things like direct air capture that are engineered and hybrid solutions such as biochar. And by the way, we're gonna have 2 presentations on biochar later today if it's a topic that is of your interest. And so those mechanisms, they create or they generate carbon credits and carbon offset that then companies and countries can trade to achieve their sustainability strategies, right? But you can ask, okay, so where's biodiversity, right? So if we put things in perspective, as companies and countries move toward carbon neutrality, net zero strategies, buying those credits and carbon offsets, where does carbon sit? Any of you not familiar with this diagram? Okay, so that's fantastic. Most of you know it, right? So I don't have to explain it. So carbon is here. And carbon is part of climate change. And climate change, as you can see, we talk a lot about it, but it's only one of the planetary boundaries, and there are others. And we already breached 6 of them since last year. And this is where biodiversity sits. So you could think, okay, it's maybe more urgent to take care of biodiversity because it's a bigger problem and we are higher risk than for carbon, but actually it's not an or, it's and. We need to do both. We need to reduce carbon emissions and to take care of biodiversity. And we need to take care of everything else as well, but you can't do everything, and today is like just about those topics. So why am I showing you this? Well, climate change and biodiversity loss negatively affect each other. For instance, if you take rising temperatures, they lead to less oxygen in oceans, and oceans tend to acidify. And so there's huge consequences for marine life, including you not having fish to eat anymore. Or if conversely, if you take like ecosystem like rainforest, and you know that forests help cool down the planet, right? If you get rid of them, then it just accelerates climate change. So it's a spiral because everything is connected and interrelated. And definitely it's not enough to address just carbon. And we as humans are heavily dependent on biodiversity. For clean air, the air you breathe, I don't think you fabricate it, right? Clean water, food, even protection against natural catastrophes. I think you all heard about the loss of our pollinators, like bees. What it leads to is basically less pollinators, less crops. Less crops leads to shortage of food, right? As I mentioned, ocean acidification, it leads to less fish for you to eat as well. And when I mention natural catastrophes, if you take the mangroves, which are coastal ecosystems, if they disappear and where they disappear, the coast gets wiped out by storms that are gonna happen more and more often. And those land are going to recess. So it's also less land for people. And there are a lot of islands in this region. So I think you start to understand how everything is interconnected, and no more biodiversity also means no more nature-based solutions, and your credits rely on it, right? And these ecosystem services, they're estimated to be like more than $30 trillion per year that nature gives us for free, and that we take. But when there's no more, this is where you have big, big problems. I'm oversimplifying the issues, obviously, because today, the whole day is going to address all those issues, from climate policy to challenges that come with carbon credits and nature-based solutions, which are facing a lot of criticism, including human rights, including credibility, and we're going to talk about solutions as well. So I'll be happy to see you at later presentations and tonight's event as well.